So we're back for another story in the saga of Satan's Diarrhea Hatebears, the gummy bears that cause horror stories. So let's get right into this one. The horror at 30,000 feet. My flight was leaving at 8 in the morning. After awakening and trying to get to the airport, I forgot to grab something to eat. I usually take my time and do things in order, but not this day. I was travelling from Boston to LA, coming home for a work trip. I do it regularly, so nothing was new to me. I stayed in the same hotel and knew the time I needed to leave to get to the airport on time. During my work trip, I stopped at a convenience store and saw these gummy bears and thought they would be a perfect gift for my son Charlie. He loves gummy bears and gummy worms. So the morning I was to head back to LA, I slept through my alarm. I rushed to get out of the hotel and threw those gummies in my carry-on bag to make it on time to the airport. After speeding and filling up gas in the rental, I made it to my gate as they were boarding. I get on the plane and head down the aisle to find my window seat near the middle of the plane. I asked politely for the two adorable older ladies sitting in the middle aisle seats if I could pass by to my seat. They obliged. The lady in the middle must have been around 80 years old, so it took her some time to get up and make sure she was holding on to something so she didn't fall as she stepped into the aisle. I thanked them as I sat and settled into my seat. Fast forward 20 minutes as we reach our cruising altitude of 30,000 feet in the air. As I reach into my carry-on bag to grab my headphones, I see the gummy bears. Since I'm hungry and need something, I decided to open them up and have just a few to hold me over till we land. I wanted to save some for my son, so maybe I had 4 or 5, but I had 4 or 5 too many, because once the bears had a few minutes to adjust to their new home, they began to work. It started out with a little cramp, which is normal with gassing on a plane. You do not want to fart on a plane, so you hold it in. It's airplane etiquette. It would come and go over a few minutes, so I thought nothing of it. Then it got worse. The cramps intensified, the sweating started, and I began to notice the older ladies looking over at me. About 30 minutes into eating these bears, my thinking went from, oh, these are just farts, I can hold them, to, oh dear God, not here. I've been a Christian my whole life and this is a test. If there is a God, please help me leave this plane with my dignity intact. After waiting for the intense cramp wave to pass, I stood up, jumped all these 2 women. I couldn't wait for them to stand, so I stood up, my back facing them, and tried to shimmy past. I think came out because I heard one say, "Oh Lord, was that you?" After reaching the aisle, I waddled to the back of the plane where the least amount of risk would be. To my dismay, it was in use. That left one bathroom left in the front. I looked down the aisle and saw my Mount Everest. I had to somehow keep my wet cheeks tighter than Fort Knox whilst waddling forward, whilst praying no one gets out of their seats. After 5 minutes of stop and go, I made it to the bathroom and was pulling my pants down as I entered the bathroom. The door was still unlocked as the sweet release was underway. I thought I died. I thought this was it. Even though I was on the throne confessing my sins, I thought my time was called. I lost count on how many knocks at the door there was. I must have been in there for 45 minutes, but I made it. I washed my hands and threw water in my face to calm me down. Opening the door, I saw the faces looking back at me. Apparently the seal to the bathroom was near tight, letting just the slightest airflow from that bathroom to the main cabin possible. These were daughters, mothers and children looking at me. I could feel their questions and comments. "What have you done? We still have 2 hours left. Please divert this plane." As I began walking down, the man in the first row of first class grabbed my arm. He said, "Hey man, where's your seat?" Confused, I told him and he said, "Go get your stuff and come back and sit here. You need this more than me." I was embarrassed and ashamed. I had a family at home waiting for me. I recommend these bears to anyone, but please eat them responsibly. 18,338 people found this helpful. That's some fucking bullshit there. And that's another episode in the saga of Satan's Diarrhea Hatebears. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next week. Bye for now.